What's up everybody, Camro here, and welcome to part 31 of my How to Make a Pokemon Game tutorial series. In this episode, we are going to be looking at how to make a Safari Zone. The first thing I'm going to do is break down how to make the entrance to the Safari Zone, and then next we're going to look at how to make Safari Zone maps, and then get them all working together. With that said, let's get into it. So here I've made a little test map, and here is our Safari Zone entrance. And I've made another map, which is the inside of the building, right here, and this is our receptionist guy. And this guy does all of the work when it comes to starting a Safari Zone. So one thing that you'll notice is he has a line of sight in front of him. And the reason that works is because, very similar to trainers, he has parentheses and then a number, and his trigger is event touch. So if you step on this tile, or this tile, he'll start talking to you and ask if you want to go into the Safari Zone. So right away, that's working as intended. That's what we want. And really, all I did was I took the receptionist from the start map that came with base essentials, and then pasted him into our own new map and tweaked him a little bit. So let's run down his event logic and understand exactly what he does and why he does it. So the first thing he says is welcome to the Safari Zone, and it makes it that way the player turns right when he's talking to them. And then he asks you, hey, do you want to pay 500 to play the Safari game? And one thing that you'll notice immediately is his text at the very start. It says /G. What that means, and this is capital G, what that means is in the top left corner, it will display the player's money. G is for gold, and I know in our game where it's not gold, it's technically dollar bills or just coins. I don't know exactly what the currency is. I like to think of it as just like bills. But yeah, the way that the game internally refers to money is it refers to it as gold. So /G displays your money, and he says, hey, if you have enough money, you can play. Would you like to play? And then it asks you, show choices. If you select a yes, then it starts running through a whole bunch of checks. If your PC boxes are all full, which is this check right here, then he says, hey, sorry, you can't play. Your PC boxes are full, and then you leave. Then the next check is, hey, is your gold $4.99 or less? Like, do you not have enough money to pay to enter? Then he says, hey, you don't have enough money, and then he kicks you out again. But if you pass both of those checks, then he says it takes away 500 of your money, which is using this method change gold minus 500, so that's subtracting $500. He says, hey, you passed. That'll be 500 gold, please. And then he takes it, and then he explains to you that we use Safari balls, and we'll call you when you run out of Safari balls. Good luck. And then here's a really interesting check. It does a conditional branch right here. So what this is testing is the tile that the player is on. It's testing what their X is, which is where they are horizontally in the world. And on the default map, it checks 3 and 5. I'll break that down right now. Let's see. On the default map, it checks to see if the player is on 3, and then it checks to see if the player is on 5. And if it's not on either of those, then it does a straight up. So that might be a little confusing, so let me break it down again. Right here, I modified it so it checks 8, and then it checks 10. If the player's X position is equal to 8, then the player moves up, turns right, and then moves up. If the player's X position is equal to 10, they move up, move left, move up. And if it's not either of those values, then you just move straight up in a line. So really, that's just a way of checking to make it so that the player always walks into the door. And yeah, other than that, at the very end, there's this function right here called PB Safari State, PB Start, and then a number. This number is the number of Safari balls you are given. You can change this to any number you want. You can give yourself 99 Safari balls. I'm just going with 30 because that was the default number. And yeah, then it teleports us to our map, and if you want to change it so that way it teleports you to a new map, you already know how to do that, I hope, where you just, set a new point. And I've actually already made a Safari map too. And then if you say no in the choice, then you just go down. Yeah, I already made a Safari Zone map as well. It's just really basic. And I'm using a lot of Safari trees, and I even put some yellow trees on the bottom to kind of show that it connects to the town. But yeah, the Safari maps are actually a lot easier to do than you would think. Really, all that needs to be done is you need to set one flag in the metadata, and then otherwise you can just treat it like a normal map. So when you make normal maps, you set encounters, which I've done for this map. let's see, here it is. I've set encounters for actually 2 maps. Yeah, so you set encounters, you place items, you have an exit, but the one flag you need to set is if it's a Safari map. So I'll go and do that right now, and let's test it. We've actually got everything that we need to test our map. We've got our receptionist at the beginning, and we've got our map, and we've set encounters. So we've really already got a working Safari zone once I set that flag. So let's test that out right now. So here I am in my town. It's a nice little town. And I'm gonna go first into the debug and set the metadata of our 2 Safari zone maps. You scroll down a bit here, you see this flag that says Safari map equals false. You want to set this to true, and you set this to true for all Safari maps. You don't need to do it for the reception desk, as it says right there on the right. You only need to do it for maps that are part of the Safari zone, not the entrance. So Safari zone A is now true. Safari zone B is now true. Let me just make sure that they're both true. Cool. So now our Safari zone should work. Let's go in and let's test it out. So here's our guy. And I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna move to the left, and he still talks to us. Cool. And then the player faces right, and then talks to him. And there's the /G. Like I said before, it's showing the money in the top left. So he says, would you like to play? I say yes. It checks. It does all the checks, and I passed all the checks. Now he's explaining to me about the Safari balls. We'll call you. And now I move up, move right, and move up because I was on that particular X tile, and now I'm in my Safari zone. Cool. So if I press escape, you'll see in the top left, it shows me my steps and my balls left. On a non-Safari map, it won't do that. But since this map is technically a Safari map, and my Safari state is technically on now, it explains to me, hey, you got the steps, you got the balls, and now I can walk around and encounter Safari Pokemon, and you will see that the battle is treated differently. Cool, there's a Chansey. Nice. So since this is a Safari map, I've got my ball, bait, rock, and run. I don't throw out any Pokemon, and this is working as intended. So I'm using the Elite Battle System, by the way, if you're not familiar with this battle system. It's awesome. It has this all taken care of. But if you're not using the Elite Battle System, it'll be the same effect, where you have the 4 choices. No, you don't throw out any Pokemon, you don't battle. It's normal. It's the Safari Zone. So yeah, this will happen on all maps that have the Safari map labeled true after you've talked to a receptionist. What they do need to turn on that switch, and I'll explain why. So there is a switch that's turned on when you talk to the receptionist, and he does that PB start. And what that does is make it so that way when you walk onto his map again, there's an auto run that says, hey, do you want to leave? So this only plays if the Safari Zone state is on. And you say no, you go, okay, and then you go back. Cool. So let's show that off now. So here's another one. Boop. He has 2 event pages, and this second event page is only if the PB in Safari switch is on, and whenever it's auto runs, that way it plays whenever you enter this map. And really, all it does is he says, hey, do you want to exit the Safari Zone? You say yes or no. If you say yes, it does Safari state end, so that the Safari state is now off. So that's cool. And yeah, and this also handles when you run out of balls, and or they call you in. So yeah, this page right here handles everything else. And what you should do is make sure that if you choose no, he sends you back to the right map. I actually did a little mistake there, where this one still sent me back to the default Safari Zone. So let me just fix this. Boop. There we go. So now, if I choose to enter the Safari Zone, then leave, and then say no, I don't want to leave, it'll send me back to the initial map. So yeah, that's how you make a Safari Zone. There is one thing that you should know. If you make one Safari Zone and connect it to another Safari Zone map, make sure that they both have the Safari Zone map flag on in the metadata. Because if one does, and then the other one doesn't, it will break you out of the Safari Zone and turn the flag off again. So make sure that they're both connected and they both have the same metadata set there. But yeah, other than that, it's really simple. There's one other thing. If you go into the scripts the script editor. In the settings script, you can scroll down to line 282, and there's a flag here called Safari Steps, or a variable here, and you can change this to be any number you want, like 999, and I think you just do 9999, and this will make it so that way you have more steps to explore the Safari. So yeah, you can change that number to be anything you want. You can tweak it however you like. But yeah, that's it. That's really all it is to making a Safari Zone. It's really basic. Once again, all you need to do is make maps like you normally would, and you know, set the encounters and all that good stuff, and then just make sure that you set the Safari flag to true. And also make sure that you have a receptionist here. This guy is the reason it all works. He links it all together. But yeah, let me just run through it one more time. And while I'm doing that, let me say thank you for watching. I hope this video helped you. I don't know what I'm gonna cover for the next topic. I think I might cover making custom Pokeballs. I think that'd be kind of cool. That requires a lot of art, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool to try it out and tweak that. But yeah, be sure to follow on Twitch and Twitter, and be sure to hit up the Thundaga Discord. Yeah, I'm not as active on there as I would like. I've been like busy dealing with like stuff, personal stuff, but I plan to get back into it, so yeah, I hope to see you there. Alright, so let's test this out. Cool, I'm given my 30 Safari Balls, and now my steps should be 999 like I set, so that's good. And yeah, so now I can go to another map, and that one has the Safari Zone flag set to true also, and it still continues my Safari experience, so that's good. And now, the one thing I want to test, Tauros, oh hell yeah, see you Tauros, is leaving. Yes. Cool, so that turns the Safari flag to false, and now we can continue on our way. Cool. And speaking of continuing on your way, I hope you continue on your way today. Have a good day. I'll see you later. Continue in your Pokemon making adventures. I'll try to continue in mine. And I hope I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.